We're just 10 days out from the election, and the race is tighter than ever, with Trump and Harris locked in a tie in a recent national poll.
That uncertainty spilling over into print media, the Washington Post declaring it's returning to its roots of not endorsing presidential candidates. A decision reportedly made by Post owner Jeff Bezos.
I thought democracy died in darkness. But the move follows other papers, including those from Harris and Walz's own home state. You got the LA Times and the Minneapolis Star-Tribune refusing to endorse.
Here with reaction, Republican political analyst and campaign strategist Ford O'Connell. Ford, thanks for being with us this morning. I think it'd be fair to say, I'll go ahead and include you in this, although, Ford, you can tell me if I'm wrong. None of us care about the endorsement of the New York Times, the Washington Post, or the Los Angeles Times. But people that I know do care would be Kamala Harris and Tim Walz. What does it mean that they're not getting the endorsement of some really big newspapers like the LA Times or the Washington Post?
It means that the race is slipping away and that Trump is firing on all cylinders, and he's outworking Kamala Harris at every turn on the campaign trail. And frankly, he's going up in all the polls. I mean, you just look at that latest New York Times Siena poll. It says that they're tied. Well, just 2 weeks ago, Harris was up by 3. And to put this in perspective, Will, back in 2016 against Hillary Clinton on this weekend, she was up 5 points nationally. So this is a big deal all around. Things are trending in Trump's direction.
You go ahead.
No, when you say trending in Trump's direction, what states are you looking at right now? We're gonna have this conversation a lot in the next 10 days, but where are trends the most dramatic in what states?
Well, let me put it this way, Pete. He's actually leading in the Real Clear Politics average in all 7 of the swing states. Where he appears strongest right now is in the Sun Belt, in the states of North Carolina, Georgia, Arizona, and actually right now in early voting, it appears he's actually leading in Nevada as well. Obviously, he's going to have to pick off one of the blue wall states, whether it's Pennsylvania, Michigan, or Wisconsin. Right now, it appears that Harris is leading in the early vote in Pennsylvania, but let me tell you, it's going to be really, really close in all 3 of those states. But I do think the momentum's on Trump's side.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that. It's interesting, like she starts going out and doing more interviews, and her poll numbers start to slip as people start to see and hear more from her. On the other hand, you have Donald Trump, who's saying, I don't need to do any more legacy media, although he's done, you know, Fox and Friends and a few other TV shows, but mostly he's going out onto these podcasts. For example, last night, making the decision to go for almost 3 hours on the Joe Rogan podcast. I want you to listen to this, and then I just want you to tell me what this particular podcast means to the race.
I got 3 nominations in a row. Won the first time, did much better the second time. You know, I get millions of votes more the second time, and now I'm doing it a third time. And it's an incredible thing. I never get a good story. I only get bad press. Now, I will say this. It's a lot easier if you're a Democrat. If I were a Democrat,
you get a lot of positive press.
I would get a lot of positive press.
No, it's a creepy, corrupt business, and the media, to a large extent, acts as a propaganda arm for the Democratic Party.
It's not even believable.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's so interesting, John, because I think what it proves is he can't get good press from the legacy media. And now there's this whole new thing, which are podcasts, and he can go on for 3 hours and show who he really is. Is this going to impact the race?
I absolutely think it will, and I think it's a genius move. I think the only thing that was just as smart as going on the Joe Rogan podcast was serving up fries at McDonald's while Kamala Harris is dishing out lies. These are political goals. Now, for the viewers to understand, Joe Rogan's podcast goes to young men, particularly young men who are low propensity voters. These are the exact people who are going to vote for Donald Trump. Joe Rogan was initially for RFK Jr., who endorsed Donald Trump. He's getting outside the echo chamber, and he's going to where the voters are. Remember, Rogan's got 15 million people on Spotify and something like 17, 18 million on YouTube. This is gold, and podcasts, as of right now, will be the future in politics.
All right, Ford O'Connell, thanks for getting up with us this morning. Appreciate your analysis.
Appreciate it, guys. Take care.
I'm Steve Ducey.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.